Hare Krishna, welcome to Ved Sarthi. Today we are going to learn Bhagavad Gita verse 1.31. We are learning Bhagavad Gita verse by verse, and we are currently on chapter 1, verse number 31. And verse 31 to 35 actually come under the theme Arjun's doubts, and the specific sub-theme is foreseeing no enjoyment in victory. Okay, so in this specific video, we are going to talk about verse 31. The shlok goes like this. न च श्रेयनुपश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनम् आहवे न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च न nor च also श्रेयः good anupashyami do I foresee hatva by killing swajanam own kinsman ahave in the fight na nor Kangshe, do I desire? Vijayam, victory. Krishna, O Krishna. Na, nor. Cha, also. Rajyam, kingdom. Sukhani, happiness thereof. Cha, also. Translation. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle. Nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. So we'll try to understand this verse from Dua perspective, discover, understand, apply. So our first discovery here is that Arjun sees no Shreyas in killing his kinsman for gaining the kingdom. Understanding? Shreyas means ultimate good, whereas Preyas means that which is immediate benefit without the calculation of future benefit. You can understand this from a simple example, a very crude example, but I think you'll be able to understand the difference. Like if, your child, he has got exams, but, he is inclined towards playing. So his inclination towards playing is actually prayers, where, he is not looking at the future that, he has got exams and he must spend time in studying so that he can do well in his exams. He is looking for his immediate enjoyment or sense gratification. Okay, that he's getting in playing. So that is prayers. But when he limits his playtime and focus on his studies for the exam, so then he's working for Shreyas. That is the ultimate good. Okay. Now, considering this Shreyas versus prayers, what is the Shreyas for all living entities? What is the ultimate good for all living entities? That is to satisfy Krishna. But here, Arjun, as you look at this, verse here, Nacha Shreyo Anupashyami Hatva Swajanam Ahave. Okay, so here Arjun is talking about the ultimate good from material point of view. He actually wants to be happy with society, friendship, love. Means he wants to be happy with his relatives, friends, etc. So basically he's talking about material happiness. And he's thinking that if I kill my kinsman, how will I be happy? So he is looking at the ultimate good on the platform of material relationships here, without knowing that the self-interest of all of us, of every living entity, is in Vishnu or Krishna. Okay. So Srila Prabhupada says that when we do not understand that our self-interest is in Krishna or Vishnu, then we get attracted by bodily relationships and we think that we will be happy in those situations. This is what Arjun's state of mind is at this point of time. Okay. Another thing to understand here is that we must not forget that Arjun knows what his ultimate benefit is. Because who is Arjun? Arjun is the eternal associate of the Lord. But at the will of Krishna, he is playing a part of the person who does not know what ultimate good is. Okay. So how you will apply this understanding? First application is that we must understand that our ultimate good or shreyas is in serving Krishna. And we must engage ourselves in serving Krishna under a bona fide spiritual master. Second application, we should not consider Arjun as an ordinary soul. Arjun is eternal associate of Krishna. But at the will of Krishna, he is put into this illusion. So we should never consider that Arjun is an ordinary soul like us. Okay? He is an instrument through which actually Krishna delivered Bhagavad Gita to all of us. Now, next discovery is Arjun is in blind conception of life. Here, actually, there are 3 points under this. The first is that he has forgotten that his self-interest lies in Vishnu. This is the first point, which indicates that Arjun is in a blind conception of life. Now, here Arjun is thinking, this directly we have taken from Srila Prabhupada's lecture on this specific verse. So, Srila Prabhupada says that Arjun is thinking Krishna is not so important. My family is important. Therefore, he is acting like a Kanishtarikari, a person in the lower stage of devotion, where he may be interested in Krishna consciousness, but his real interest is to improve his material life. That is just like, oh God, give us our daily bread. Okay, so here Arjuna is giving more importance to his family, his friends, his relatives, and he has forgotten that actually his self-interest lies in serving Krishna. And what is the next understanding? That we must understand that our self-interest lies in Vishnu or Krishna, and we must engage ourselves in pure devotional service unto the lotus feet of Krishna. So what is actually pure bhakti? We have, there are a lot of verses in the Shastras, but we are going to share 3 verses here in the next slide. Let us go through them first to complete the understanding of this specific aspect. First definition of pure bhakti, this is from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulena krishnanushilanam bhakti uttama. When first class devotional service develops, one must be devoid of all material desires. Knowledge obtained by monistic philosophy and fruitive action. The devotee must constantly serve Krishna favorably as Krishna desires. So this is a beautiful definition of pure bhakti given by Srila Rupa Goswami. That when one is at the stage of pure devotional service, one is devoid of all material desires. So he has only one desire, that is to serve Krishna. And how? Serve Krishna favorably, as Krishna likes, not as we like, okay, or as some other person likes. No, this is serving Krishna favorably as Krishna likes, as Krishna desires, okay. And then sarvupadhi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. This is from Narad Pancharatra. So the translation is, bhakti or devotional service means engaging all our senses in the service of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the master of all the senses. When the spirit soul renders service unto the Supreme, there are 2 side effects. One is freed from all material designations, and one's senses are purified simply by being employed in the service of Lord. So here, what is the definition? Engage all our senses in satisfying the senses of the master of all the senses, that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Next definition, Savai punsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje ahetuki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse number 6. The supreme occupation, dharma, of all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. So here, This verse says that devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted. And what is the result? One will attain complete satisfaction of the self when one engages in the unmotivated and uninterrupted devotional service unto the lotus feet of Krishna. Now coming back to this discovery that Arjun has forgotten that his self-interest lies in Vishnu. What is the application now? The application is that instead of materially oriented, we must be Krishna oriented. We must not remain Kanishta Adhikari. We must not remain at the lower stage of devotion. We must prioritize serving Krishna. We must dedicate our lives in satisfying Krishna as Krishna desires, as Krishna likes. Next discovery under this, Arjun is in a blind conception of life. The second point here is that he has forgotten even the causes of material happiness. So Arjun is in so much illusion that he has forgotten even, how he can attain material happiness. So understanding is that Arjun is thinking that victory will not give him happiness. He is thinking that if I kill my kinsman, what will be the value of my victory? With whom will I enjoy? Okay, so here actually Arjun is getting an opportunity to get back his kingdom and live happily. But here he has forgotten that also, that when I attain my kingdom back, I will attain material happiness. So he has forgotten this also. He is thinking that if I kill my kinsman, I will not be happy. So again, this is thinking on the material platform. Application, we have to understand that the real happiness lies in Krishna Bhakti. And Krishna Bhakti is the eternal occupation of the soul. Jivare Surupa hai Krishnera Nityadas. We are the eternal servants of the Lord. So our real happiness lies in serving the Lord. And the happiness that we are expecting from society, friendship, love is just illusory. And we should strive for real happiness. Third point, under this, Arjun is in a blind conception of life. So third point is that he has forgotten the moral codes of a Kshatriya. So here he has forgotten what is his duty as a Kshatriya. Now according to Varnashram Dharma, Kshatriya requires a kingdom for sustenance. And here Arjun has no kingdom. His kingdom has been taken away by Kauravas. Now this war is an opportunity for him to reclaim his kingdom. But Arjun sees no good in killing his kinsman. He does not want to fight and he wants to go to the forest and live a secluded life. So he wants to quit his Kshatriya dharma and want to go to forest. He wants to renounce everything. Okay? So in order to understand, we have quoted a verse from Bhagavad Gita. This is from chapter 3, verse number 35. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swa anushtitat swadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. Krishna says, it is far better to discharge one's prescribed duties, even though faultily, than another's duties perfectly. Destruction in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another's duties. For to follow another's path is dangerous. Now let us go to the next slide and try to understand what this means with respect to the situation that Arjun is into currently. Okay. This specific feeling or sentiment of Arjun that he wants to renounce everything and go and live in the forest, it is not a permanent sentiment. It is a temporary sentiment. Okay. Temporarily looking at the situation, he is so much, overwhelmed with compassion that he wants to avoid this war and go to forest. This is actually not in accordance with the nature of Arjun. Arjun is a Kshatriya. But here this specific, feeling of Arjun that he wants to renounce everything is not in accordance with his nature. Lord Krishna actually did not want Arjun to become a pretender. Because a pretender is, who is a pretender? Pretender is somebody, doing something that is not in accordance with that person's nature. For example, you would find, people who pretend that they are renunciants, they are sannyasis or vairagis, but actually within their hearts, they have a strong desire for sense gratification. So that means they are not yet purified to attain that stage of vairagya. Okay? So here in this case, it is situational that Arjun wants to, go to the forest and he wants to leave everything. But actually, that is not his nature. Krishna didn't want Arjun to be like a, pretender. He wanted Arjun to perform his prescribed duty as a Kshatriya. Arjun was a householder, he was a grihast, and he was a Kshatriya, military general. So it was better for him to remain as such and perform his religious duties as prescribed for the householder Kshatriya. This is the beauty of Varnashram Dharma, that at every stage of the Varnashram Dharma, one can just, perform the prescribed duties for that specific stage and perform those duties in the spirit of Krishna consciousness. So in the Varnashram Dharma, renouncing our specific, social order and accepting another social order which is not according to our nature. So this act is not recommended. Better is that one must remain at his stage of the social order, and in that stage itself, one should be Krishna conscious so that one gradually get purified of the material contamination. So here for Arjun, following Swadharma, that is prescribed duty of Kshatriya, is Shreyas, is better, even though it appears to be faulty. At the face of it, it appears that it will be faulty because Arjun will have to kill his kinsman. But actually, when we learn Bhagavad Gita further, we find that when this act is done for the satisfaction of Vishnu, for the satisfaction of Krishna, then such act has practically no faults. Because then the person is not at the material platform, he is acting at the spiritual platform. So there is no reaction to his actions when he is at the spiritual platform. In Bhagavad Gita verse 3.9, Krishna encourages Arjun to work for the satisfaction of Vishnu or Krishna. And such practice will not only save one from the reaction of work, but also gradually elevate one to transcendental loving service of Krishna, which is the ultimate purpose of our existence. So when we work at the platform of spirituality, when we work for the satisfaction of Krishna, it will not bind us with the reactions of that work, and at the same time, it will enhance our love for Krishna. And that is actually the purpose of our life. Here, Srila Prabhupada also uses one analogy that Arjun is not willing to fight just as a person who does not feel hunger is not inclined to cook. Very natural. If a person is not hungry, why he will go and, cook? He's not in need of, cooking. So similarly, Arjun doesn't want kingdom. He doesn't want victory. He wants to renounce everything. Then why, he would like to engage in the fight? So this is the analogy. In the next set of shlokas, that is Bhagavad Gita 1.32 to 35, Arjun elaborates on his disinterest in the kingdom and victory. Okay. So these set of verses we are going to take together in the next video. Now for this specific discovery and understanding, what is the application? The application is that we must perform our duties according to our Swadharma in full Krishna consciousness. Whatever social order we are into, we must perform our prescribed duty. But how we must perform the duty? So that duty must be in full Krishna consciousness. Okay? So that is actually the art of doing work. Doing everything for the satisfaction of Krishna. Now, next discovery. Arjun says that he neither desires any victory, kingdom, nor happiness. So this specific Vairagya that is displayed by Arjuna is Shamshan Vairagya. Why Srila Prabhupada says that this is Shamshan Vairagya? You know, when people go to Shamshan Ghat, cremation ground, to burn the dead body, they actually become little renounced. But that is temporarily, for the time being. You know, they get this feeling that why I'm doing so much efforts, why I'm, engaged in so many, material activities. Because ultimately, even one day, I'm also going to die. My body will also be burnt like this. So I must renounce these material activities because they are of no use. But as soon as, one comes back to home, one get again engaged in the bodily activities. So this renunciation that one displays in Shamshan Ghat or cremation ground is temporarily. Here also, this sentiment of Arjun that he doesn't want any victory, kingdom, happiness is also temporary. It is like Shamshan Vairagya. Because ultimately, as a Kshatriya, if he goes to the forest, he will be frustrated. That is not his nature. So this sentiment of Arjun that he does not want victory, kingdom, or happiness is actually temporary. So this symptom is not a symptom of a true Vairagi or a true renunciant. So application here, we must become real Vairagi or real renunciant. We must understand the frustrations in material life and become fixed in spiritual life. Okay? So it should not be like, temporarily we say, oh, this material life is so bad. And, when I die, everything will become zero. And I should, renounce everything. But deep within the heart, you have the desire for material life. So that is not true Vairag. Okay, so we must become fixed in spiritual life so that gradually, when we get free from material contamination, then automatically this Vairag will come. Okay, in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a beautiful verse in Canto 1 that when one takes to Krishna Bhakti, then knowledge and detachment automatically develop. Okay, so artificially one cannot become a renunciant. He has to follow a proper process through which he becomes free from contamination. And then only he can attain that stage of detachment and Vairag. Next discovery, Arjun is considering his friends and relatives as Swajan. Now here, due to material attachment, Arjun is thinking that his friends and relatives are Swajan. Swajan literally means own men or kinsmen. Due to material attachment, Arjun thinks that his friends and relatives are Swajan. But actually, Krishna is our real Swajan. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. He says that I am your well-wishing friend. And in Bhagavad Gita 15.6, Krishna says, Mame Vansho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So all living entities, Krishna says, are his fragmental part and parcel. So eternally we are related with Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is our real Swajan. Whereas Arjun is now talking at the material platform, the platform based on his present birth, and is thinking that his relatives are his Swajan. Now, application here, our real Swajan is Krishna, and we must work towards re-establishing our forgotten relationship with Krishna. And how do we do that? Through the process of devotional service under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. Another beautiful discovery in this specific verse is that Arjun calls Krishna by the name Krishna. Now, what is the meaning of the name Krishna? Krishna means the reservoir of pleasure. Okay? Anandamaya Abhyasat. Lord Krishna is the reservoir of pleasure. By calling Krishna by this name, Arjuna is conveying to Krishna. Just read the translation here. Nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. Sir, just see how beautifully Arjuna is conveying to Krishna that, oh Krishna, the reservoir of pleasure, I do not wish for victory, kingdom, or happiness derived from these means. My real victory, my real attainment, my real happiness lies in you. Okay, so a devotee of Krishna is never attracted to Maya. Maya is what? Maya is illusory energy of Lord, external energy of Lord. A pure devotee of Krishna is never attracted to Maya. For a devotee, his victory, his attainment, his happiness, bliss, everything lies in serving Krishna. Okay? So that's all on this verse. In the next video, we are going to the next 4 verses and we are going to complete this sub-theme, foreseeing no enjoyment and victory. Okay? So here we have made entry in this table. We'll be, making more entries as we go ahead and discuss on the various reasons that Arjun gave to Krishna for not fighting. Okay? So for this specific Bhagavad Gita 1.31 to 1.35, we have added to this table that foreseeing no enjoyment and victory is the second reason that Arjun gave to Krishna for not fighting. And Krishna addressed this specific concern of Arjun in Bhagavad Gita 2.31 to 2.37. Okay? Thank you. And we dedicate all these videos to our Guru Maharaj, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Thakur, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna.